All parties must follow international law, acting with necessity, distinction, proportionality and precaution. Allegations of breaches should always be treated with the utmost seriousness. I know the Minister said last week that this government supports ICC independence, as the Labour Party do, but he failed to answer whether the government recognises its jurisdiction to address the conduct of all parties in Gaza, as Prime Minister Boris Johnson rejected it and attacked the court. Labour recognises the ICC's jurisdiction. Can he clarify his government's position today?
UK complicity in the illegal occupation of Palestine has been a hot political topic for some time now, most prominently over the last 20 months as Israel still find the time to attack Gaza and the West Bank every day, whilst now simultaneously at war with Iran. When Labour were in opposition, we saw David Lammy repeatedly ask the Tories why they haven't published legal advice surrounding the country's involvement in supplying weapons and intelligence to the Zionist state, who are in clear breach of international law. Now that they're in office, we see them squirming just as their predecessors did whenever this issue has been raised in the House of Commons or in television interviews. Wigan MP Lisa Nandy made an appearance on Good Morning Britain today and put on a pathetic display in trying to dance around the question, ultimately wanting us to believe, as the Tories did, that such advice can only be revealed in private and that the public do not have a right to know if their taxes are being spent illegally. Let's see what's happening.
The Attorney General, Richard Hermer, has apparently suggested that it could be illegal. UK's involvement in this could be illegal. He questions Israel's actions being legal in Iran. Why don't you declare that legal advice publicly? In the past, David Lammy, when he wasn't in government, he insisted that the Foreign Office at the time, led by David Cameron, release that public legal advice. He said it was in the interests of the country, and he said it was an absolute right for the government to do so. Now it seems, when they're in power, David Lammy won't release that legal advice. Why not?
Well, that was a government that did not have a commitment to acting in accordance with the law. And in fact, the last government had been very clear that they were prepared to break international law. We take a very different approach. And there's a long-standing convention that you don't release legal advice because we have to be able to request it freely, to have those conversations, to understand what it means and act in accordance with it. But we are a government that is committed to acting in accordance with the law. And we respect the Law Officers Convention that says that that is not a conversation that you have in public. It's a conversation that you have in private. You take the advice and then you follow it.
So David Lammy was wrong a year ago to demand that advice to be public, was he?
Well, the concern of Parliament, and it wasn't just David Lammy, it was the chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee and others who were very concerned that when you have a government that had said very publicly that it did not see the need to follow international law and in fact was prepared to break the law if it felt it was in its interests, that the government was not following the legal advice that it had been given, and that advice was at odds with the advice was at odds with the government's actions. That's why there was a clamour from across Parliament, not just from the Labour opposition, but from Conservative MPs as well, to put that into the public domain. But we all recognised at the time that that was exceptional, and that when you have high, fast-moving, volatile situations like this, it has to be right that we're able to take that advice privately and then follow it.
An absolutely desperate performance there, I'm sure you'll agree, but why the need for such secrecy on the matter? There's only one logical thing that seems to be the answer, and that is that we, as a nation, are acting outside the bounds of international law, and as such, not only should there be a complete halt to our complicit actions, but anyone involved, whatever government they're from, should be held to account in The Hague, along with Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. There is simply no other reason for the legal advice to be so well hidden. The public have a right to know, and we should demand to know where we stand. Some groups are already taking this into their own hands, with Palestine Action carrying out a spraying action at R.A.F Brize Norton earlier today, and here in Manchester at the offices of CDW, who supply weapons for Elbit Systems. That's Israel's biggest weapons supplier. But what do you think about the UK's role in all of this and Lisa Nandy's efforts to dodge the matter in that GMB interview? Please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe and thumbs up buttons to help us out on the algorithm. You can now join the channel with a membership for just 99p with some great perks for you to enjoy, including exclusive content and early viewings, plus lots more. And you get to join the list of awesome people who support the channel that you can see on your screen right now. Hit the join button or follow the links in the channel description. If you'd like to make a one-off contribution, then please hit super thanks on the video or follow the link to our Buy Me a Coffee page, where you can help to show solidarity and support the channel for just the price of a tasty hot beverage. All contributions are greatly appreciated. Thanks again everyone. My left eye, I'll be seeing you soon.